Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's time for vlog 7. As you can see, I'm back where I normally sit. I've got my wonderful chair in the background that I never seem to move, and I've got my beautiful grey boards, and most importantly I had the little intro, you should be hearing the music, and I should have a nice outro again, hopefully. So what have I been up to? I've actually been toying around with Flash. I've been a Flash user since the old days. I mean, back when it was owned by Macromedia and it was Flash 2, we're now on Flash CS6. Not to mistake that for being 4 versions ahead, it actually went all the way up to Flash 8 and then started again at Flash CS1. So yeah, it's been around for a while and I've been toying with it for bloody years. There was a period where I stopped using Flash. I used to upload animations to Newgrounds, and what I discovered is you'd put hours into an animation and you'd have some 13-year-old kid go something like,
"Yeah, we're the stick men kicking the shit out of each other. This sucks. I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 5.
Of course, being the incredibly mature person I was, I thought, fine, I quit. And I did. I stopped animating for a long time. I continued to use Flash as a graphic tool. I went on to make webcomics with it and so on, but I didn't touch animation until, I'd say, a few months before I started back at university. I say back as if I ever went before, to tell the truth. I dropped out after college, but that's a story for another time. So yes, getting back on point, I'm trying to reteach myself Flash. It's important towards my course, especially now as I'm trying to do an animation that's 2,880 frames long, and I have a week to make it, so kind of freaking out a bit there. One day I'll actually brush my hair before one of these so I look less like a hobo. So today, not feeling very motivated to actually work on my dark and grimy silhouette animation all about World War II and some Welsh poem that I wasn't all that interested by, I decided to start toying around with... Oh, my voice is going. I decided to start toying around with... Oh no, my voice does not want to work with me today, does it? I started toying around with a little character that I doodled over many years called Skullboy. He looks very much like an amalgamation of all kinds of things you'd have seen back on Newgrounds.com or by something like the Behemoth. And today, as my little experiment, I decided to do a little run animation. It sounds simple, 1 foot in front of the other, arms swing side to side. It's actually, getting one that looks fluid is just awful. It's a complete pain in the ass to do because you've got to get a perfect loop, you've got to get the legs looking right, and that's actually quite a pain. After a few hours, this was the end result. I say this was the end result, this is the messy result that I had to put together. Sadly, Flash CS4 has this issue with exporting movie files anything longer than about 1 second, and it starts to freak out and it does graphic tears, and it's not pretty. This is what it looks like if you export anything longer than that. It looks fine, and then suddenly it's screaming professionalism with its graphic tears. Yay! Is this leading to the promised animations that I've talked about before? Hopefully yes. I'm not saying Skullboy will be in them, he probably won't. I've never really given him a backstory or anything interesting that I could animate really. But this is me experimenting with movement and how I can make shortcuts so that I can make animations quicker, and who knows, maybe I can put together some kind of series. Then I can actually start focusing on writing, which is going to be the slow part. So, what else has been going on? Completely by accident, I've managed to come up with what might be quite an interesting concept for an animation that I'm hoping to do down the line. I'm currently back and forthing it with one of the other Shoobop members, who I get the username wrong of every single time, so I'm just going to say Sarah. If you watch her stuff, you'll know who I'm talking about. If you don't, here's an annotation. I don't want to go into too much detail because you never know who's going to nab your idea before you can create it, and this is going to be a long process to make. But in basic, it'll be a comedy about adorable things doing less than adorable stuff, but don't think Happy Tree Friends. In more Shoobop related news, the Elegant Moustache, also known as Nadia, has finally put up the first of her Saving Students cooking program. I will put an annotation. I'll get this mirroring right one day. I'll put it here, and I took part in it. I did some video work and shouted my voice beautifully across the room, telling people they were doing stuff wrong, which doesn't show up in the final product, but there is an outtake reel in the works, which I'll link to in a future video. Now, I normally mention people from the Shoobop network as they release their videos, but it's been a while. My last video wasn't really the kind of video that I should nod to other people in, so I'm going to mention 3, I believe. I might end up mentioning one of these twice because I might have mentioned her in a previous one. But here we have Candy Floss Killer. This is Mia. She does Disney related stuff, musical stuff. She loves singing and looking pretty damn weird on webcam with all those weird photo booth effects that always hit my brain. She's also planning on doing some dramatic readings of some truly awful fan fiction. I mean Powerpuff Girls meets Pokemon kind of stuff. So keep an eye out on that. Over here we have Bebe Faye TV, also known as Katie, or as I like to call it, Babyface. You'll see why when you actually see her. She's an avid fan of terrible, terrible movies. She's also shamefully very far behind on all good TV shows. But she's hoping to do reviews and so on, and is not all there, which makes her a very entertaining person to watch, as you'll see from her opening vlog. And finally, by here, we have Faded, also known as Dave. You'll have seen him hopefully in one of my previous vlogs where he burst into beautiful song. He's a complete nerd like me, although he looks less like a nerd and more like he's going to mug you in a dark alleyway. He is truly fabulous, and I would recommend watching his stuff. He's planning on doing things like Let's Plays, and I just realised this whole time I've been looking at my wallpaper on the background instead of looking at the camera. I do apologise. But yeah, check him out as well. Right, that's pretty much it today. I'm getting lots of messages on Twitter from people drama queening because I've made a very short animation that looks worse than anything they've ever created, and they're all going, no, it's better than anything I could do. So I'm gonna go do damage control there. So, till next time, have a wonderful week, and goodbye.